My name is Russ. My grandfather bought a house in Manhattan Beach in 1917 in the 200 block of 4th Street. And he paid $1,000, and for years he complained he got ripped off. It wasn't worth more than $800. But then he sold it to my aunt, and my family was living in the Simi Valley, and my dad worked for the post office, but the post office headquarters got transferred from the Burbank airport to LAX. So everybody had to move to the beach area. Well, most people moved to nice areas like Westchester, Inglewood, etc. The poor people that couldn't afford that, there were very few of them, moved to Manhattan Beach because it was cheaper. And we moved into the house my aunt owned near the beach so I could start kindergarten at Grandview in 1945. And that's how I came to Manhattan Beach, and I've lived here pretty much ever since. We live right now about 100 feet away from where I grew up. In 1945, Manhattan Beach was really a low-income beach community where most people lived here part-time and had nice homes somewhere else, and they spent the summer in their beach shacks in Manhattan Beach. And the people who didn't have a lot of money, we lived here full-time, but in the summer, most of the people I played with, the boys and girls we played with on the beach, played volleyball, etc., they only lived there in the summer. And it gradually changed, obviously, and it started changing right after World War II, because they built Liberty Village out near aviation, and people started realizing this is a pretty nice place to live because the aerospace industry started picking up. And it became nicer and nicer, and all of a sudden it's like it is today, which is, fortunately, it still has the hometown feeling of a small beach town, but it's obviously very expensive. We used to go walking in what we called the back country, which was everything east of Ardmore. And there were maybe a dozen houses between Manhattan Beach Boulevard and Hermosa and Ardmore and Sepulveda. Other than that, it was all vacant property, and there was nothing east of Sepulveda other than chinchilla ranches, egg farms, etc. So it's kind of changed quite a bit. I went to high school at Miracosta and graduated in 1958. By that time, the population had pretty much gotten to almost where it is today, because they opened a second high school, Aviation High School. I went to El Camino College, and then I went to Cal State Long Beach, where I graduated with a degree in accounting. I worked in the post office 4 years as a clerk because I didn't have any money, and my family didn't have hardly any money either. And so I was a clerk where I went to work starting at 3:30 in the morning, 6 days a week, worked till 9:30, and then went to school. So my college experience was basically work, sleep, and study. We had one car. My dad took it to work. My mom walked downtown to do her shopping. But this was pretty normal. It's all we knew. And it was prior to the Vietnam War. And my wife and I were engaged. And back then, with no war, all you had to do was get out of the draft was to get married. But I didn't feel right about that. So I joined the Army Reserves and went on active duty to basic training, and then I went to finance training. And then I served 5.5 years in the reserves as a finance officer. I was a first lieutenant. Then my wife and I got married in '65, and we're now on our 59th year of marriage, and it's wonderful. I was the luckiest man in the world to marry the girl I did. We'd lived in Manhattan Beach, almost my whole life, and I wanted to give something back to the community, so I applied for a position on the Planning Commission. And I was accepted, and I served on the Planning Commission until 1978, at which time people said, you should run for city council, which I'd never in my wildest dreams thought I would do that. So I did, and I managed to win. And we had 9 candidates running, including Bob Holmes, and he did not win. I did. Somehow I managed to get 81% of the vote. I think it's because everybody knew my mother, because she was a big Neptunian Club member. And so I served 8 years on the city council, 2 terms as mayor, and it was a wonderful experience.